Hail and well met, viewer. My name is Zindios. This is the DnD Newbie, and today, kind of piggybacking off of the last thing I talked about, I'm going to kind of talk about campaign story and the way I'm handling it, the way I'm trying to handle it at the very least, because one of the few things I'm starting to learn as I keep crafting my world is the story isn't the world. Your players are the story, right? So what do you mean by that? I mean, there's stories all over the place. Things happen in Baldur's Gate without your characters being involved. There's things happening right now in the real world without me being involved, sitting in a chair talking to maybe 20 strangers on the internet about something I care about. God, sorry guys, it's like 7 in the morning. There's a bright light right here in my face. Actually, multiple bright lights. The thing I'm trying to really internalize right now is you're doing this game, you're playing this, and you're running a campaign for the enjoyment of those involved, right? You're doing it for them. So they should be the driving force and the center of everything that happens, right? That doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to resolve everything that happens in your world, right? Because worlds are complex. There are forces outside of our control. You can't expect these characters to completely obliterate an entire army that's been amassing power for decades and decades and many, many dynasties, right? Oh, actually, I guess that is just kind of what happens in D&D. Anyway, sometimes there are forces that happen in your world that maybe they're not going to be able to stop, but there are facets and things that they can interact with in the world that you make or in the world that you play in that will influence their stories. Or the way I'm handling it right now, I'm having everybody's got a really nice backstory to all of their characters. And in those backstories, there are key events that happen in their lives, and there are key characters in their lives that influence who they become and who they are, right? So the way I'm handling it is there's going to be sort of the big overarching thing, like here's the main story, here's the main thing we're doing, but in that main story, there's going to be a bunch of divergent paths that talk about each of these individual characters, what they're going through, how we're going to resolve their stuff, right? And because I'm handling it like that, I feel like developing the world has become a lot easier because I don't have to think of every single little detail myself. A lot of these characters and a lot of the backstories that my players are giving me, I can actually build off of and naturally fold into what I'm doing, right? So for example, one of my players is going to be a tiefling monk who feels really bad for this race that has been done dirty due to a giant event that's shook up the world I'm making. And they end up going on a big, like, knowledge, soul-side journey, right? Great album by Darkthrone, by the way. They go on this soul-side odyssey to go learn as much as they can about these things, and they end up stumbling into this particular librarian that owns this grand library. And I said, great, I can just design a really cool grand archive somewhere in this world that would make sense. And now, bam, I have a new locale. I have a new region that people can go and explore now. And I can do like a big dramatic event with them. They're also introducing individual characters that are personal to them, which is really important because that's how we build tension and resolution and conflict with each of these characters that they care about. I think it's really important, especially being so new to this. It's really important that each character gets their, big defining moment, right? It's like in Fallout New Vegas, right? One of my favorite games on the planet, where every character you run into, every little side buddy that you get has their own personal tale where they grow and they change and they, can have diverging paths on how they grow, right? Like you can send good old Arcade to the Enclave in that really, really scary looking armor that you suddenly zoom into after the end of his quest. Oh, God, that Enclave armor is so spooky looking. But by folding my players' ideas into the story and into the world, it's a lot less pressure on me, obviously, But it's a big reminder that D&D is a collaborative effort between you and your players, and the whole stage is set by everybody involved. All of us are influencing this world. Me, obviously, a little more than others, because I'm designing this whole world to begin with that they will be interacting with, and designing the sort of central conflicts. But my players, with their backstories and that, they've established individuals that they have interacted with, and the people that they want to talk to, and the things that they're looking for and they're after, which naturally allows me to add extra texture and flavor to the world that they'll be playing in, and therefore keeps everybody interested, keeps everybody invested, and that's how you get really good hooks and twists and turns. And I'm gonna develop so many cliffhangers. They're gonna call me Rick Dangerous the way I'm making so many cliffhangers. Nobody's gonna get that, man. But I feel like I'm mostly making this one as a reminder to be like, D&D's collaborative. This is a group effort, and you should absolutely let your players influence your world. Let them come up with things that maybe you didn't think about, or come up with like locales that maybe you weren't considering at first, and now you can just naturally add that in. Like, oh, I can add this really cool enclave. One of my players is a halfling rogue. So I'm like, oh, cool. I get to do a really awesome like nature-themed thieves guild now, because they want to be a halfling that roamed around in the woods and that. So I can make something cool. I can make them a really cool antagonist. I can make them some really awesome stuff. You know, we've got somebody from the Feywild in our campaigns. I said, yes, I can add in some Fey stuff. I don't know anything about the Fey stuff, and I'm a little scared of the Fey stuff. But it's fine. Just because somebody's doing somebody from the alien realm doesn't mean I have to know everything about the alien realm. There's no possible way I could know everything about the alien realm. I've only got so much time on Earth, man. I haven't even played everything I want to yet. Have you seen Pragmata? The game looks like it came out in 2006 in like a good way. Remember the Xbox? Remember the 360? Remember PlayStation 3? Remember playing all those? Nostalgia. At the end of the day, we do this game to give our players the cool moments, right? We do this to allow our players to have the cool heroic moments and grow as characters and hopefully people, if they're taking it not necessarily seriously. You know, you don't want to be the guy that's in the full armor getup every time you meet together and maybe get a little too far into everything. But like, D&D is basically just theater with numbers. It's math theater at the end of the day. So let everybody be a part of the theater. Let everybody have their main character moments and be able to grow and influence your stuff. Because, I mean, it's a weight off my shoulders the less I have to come up with. And, you know, it's nice when you feel like you don't have to be the most original all the time, 100%. Like, I'm very thankful I'm not making my own modules or anything for this world that I'm making, because I would feel so much pressure to be like, I have to be so unique. I have to do all these things myself. You need to make sure this is the most original thing ever, and nobody's ever done this before, and be amazed at that. It's not about that. It's not about being super original or anything like that at all. I might do another video on originality and all this, because I got a lot to say on that. But that's a topic for another time. For the time right now, I think you just shouldn't... I'm mostly saying this as a reminder to myself and maybe other people that are also new to this. Talk to your players. Talk to them about their stories and what they want to do and what they plan on their character growing and turning into, because you might be surprised at how much you can fold into your own campaign with basically no effort. And you wouldn't have been able to get there without the players that you're near and the players that you hopefully trust. Unless you're playing with randos on the internet, that might be a little tougher. It might be a lot tougher, actually. I don't know. What's the online D&D scene like? I have no idea. I'm kind of scared to do that. I'm scared of most online communities. Some people... This has been Zindy, the D&D Newbie. Hopefully this helps you out. This is definitely helping me feel a little bit better about approaching this hobby and not taking it too seriously. Subscribe if you feel like it. Like the video, do the shares. Whatever you want, really. I'm just doing this for myself at the end of the day. I'm just chilling in front of my very crooked ass case, man. This thing's busted to shit. It's so old. Have a good one, people.